Hey guys, Phantomato back again today with another Unturned update video. This week's update added a whole bunch of cool stuff, so I just want to skip the chit chat and get right into it. So if we run down to my little update base here, we will see that there are two new armors, military tracer bullets, a chart and GPS, diving gear, and all the colors of duffel bags, which is pretty cool. There is another suit that I'm wearing, and it is the Spec Ops suit, and it is freaking awesome. It's all black, so you can go under the cover of the night. And this is probably the coolest suit in Unturned. Just look at this. As well, the backpack is the second largest backpack, just a bit behind the Alice pack. The other two armors in this update are the civilian vest and the makeshift armor. And now each of these are slightly worse than police, military, or spec ops, but the thing is, civilian will be common in civilian houses, and the makeshift one, you can make it in case you can't find any. And the civilian vest has 12 slots, the makeshift one only has 6, so really it is pretty crappy, but the whole point is you can make it, and they both look cool. The civilian one looks kind of just like flat, and this one, I don't know why, it just looks really cool with the metal up here and all the metal across it. So that is pretty neat. Moving on to the second crate here is the other gear that we got this week, and it is the diving gear. Now this stuff is pretty special because it allows you to breathe underwater for an immense amount of time, just like in real life diving gear would. And if I put on the wetsuit, the wet bottom, and the snorkel, the diving tank, and oh, I'm putting it back. So if I put this stuff on, the diving tank, the wetsuit bottom, the snorkel, and this shirt, and let's just get rid of this stuff. One, they look pretty cool, my little smile underneath there. And two, if we head down to my little underwater base, and if you look down at the air, it is going down much slower than it would if I didn't have this gear on. Now you don't have to have the wetsuit top or the wetsuit bottom. You just need the diving tank and the snorkel, but it looks better altogether in one. As well, why this was added, I'm pretty sure, was the fact that if I go underwater all the way under here, I can equip my gun. I can equip anything. That's how I built that. Here's the melee weapon that was added this week, the scythe. It's pretty cool. I can equip it underwater and hit stuff underwater. New sound. Listen to this. We've never heard this before. Can shoot it. And now there's underwater combat, basically, which is pretty neat. And then moving on to the third crate is just the duffel bags, and these look really cool. So if I turn myself around right here and put it on, it looks pretty awesome. It's like over the strap because it's over his shoulder. That's what I meant to say. Over his shoulder because, you know, it's a duffel bag. So this is pretty neat. I really like the look of it, and it's more customability to your Unturned characters, not just with the inventory stuff, but as well with in-game items, which is pretty cool. And the last physical items this week was the military tracer bullets, a chart, and a GPS. Now, back in Unturned 2.0, there was no map screen like we have. There was just, you had to find a physical copy of the PEI map. And now it's reintegrated itself slightly differently in Unturned 3.0. So if I were to open up the map without either of these two things, this is going to happen. You're not going to see your arrow, you're not going to see anything. It's just going to be this blurry screen that says no chart found. And if you switch it over down here, no GPS found. If I were to pick up the chart and the GPS, here's the chart screen. It's like a less detailed version of the map, and it looks pretty cool. Then you can kind of see where you are. See, I'm by Taylor Beach, but it's not as detailed. You don't find any secrets, you know? If you change it over to the GPS or the satellite imagery, it's basically the same map that you would have before this update. And I think that's good, because honestly the map is overpowered. It was way overpowered. You instantly knew where you were. You didn't have to struggle for finding out where you were or how to get to there. I remember making so many turning mistakes in Unturned 2.0. And now, all the newbies can suffer what all the seniors of Unturned had to suffer with. And the second, well, the last physical item is these tracer bullets. These were also in Unturned 2.0, and they held the same amount, only 20 bullets. But the only difference between these and normal military bullets is the fact that these have like a red trace thing, like a red tracer, so they're easier to see, I guess. In military, you're supposed to be able to trace these easier so you know where your shot's going. But these just kind of look cool and Unturned. And there's no spawns on them on any map. Nelson just says they're useless because of the next feature in this update, but he just added them because they might be useful to someone else, like modders. And that brings me to the last addition to like guns and things this update, and that is bullet trails. If you watch when I shoot this, you see a bit of a white blip. That is the bullet trail. And it basically makes it easier for people to see you at night, so snipers aren't overpowered. And one last thing I did remember, I didn't forget it. I just remembered it, is on the Eagle Fire, it now has this new mode, Burst. It'll shoot out 3 rounds at a time, which is pretty handy, especially in the arena where they spawn so often. And now the last thing in this week's update that was a map edition is another story mode. And you can find it in Montague at this green house right here on this shelf in the middle of it. Now, just let me get my reading voice ready. Journal, page 61. Somebody has to keep a record of what actually happened. Otherwise, anything can become history. We didn't know, of course. It was just a few blips on the radar. Could easily have been a surprise attack, and we gave them a fair warning. Although, in hindsight, I doubt their comms use the same tech as ours. The one we recovered went down in New Mexico, the other one's lost, but I doubt there will be any survivors. None of us expected it to be a flying saucer. The government's trying to play it down from the public, and the official account is that we rescued them after they crashed into an unidentified object. It's not my place to reveal any of this, but we can't change the past. The way they're handling this rubs me up the wrong way. I think I'll quietly retire. Almost at that age anyway. Maybe we'll move someplace nice. And that is it for this week's update. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to like it. And if you liked it enough, subscribe for more Unturned content in the future. But that's it from me. I have a Twitter that I'm going to say now. I have a Twitter. You guys can go check it out. I will leave the link in the description, as well as the full Unturned update post for you guys to go read through yourselves. But that's it. That's it. So, as always, stay saucy, guys.
And just levitate.